Vincent Sanchez is a web consultant and digital accessibility consultant. He's also an optometrist specialized in vision sciences. He has a PhD in optometry and science of vision. He's from Valencia, Spain, but he needs to find a reason to not go home because he hates the weather. So, Vincent, Porto is suitable for you. Why not? Think about it. Okay?
Thank you.
We have a lots of rain here, cold, not bad, not too warm.
Excellent.
So, and for the next session, we'll talk about the accessibility quest, a walkthrough for success. Also, you have to know that his passion is video games. I and wonder why.
Uh, Sorry, should I start already? Oh, shit. Oh, give me 1 second, please. I need to save the game. Okay, sorry, I feel ashamed. Well, I'm Vicente Sanchez. I'm an accessibility consultant. I have a PhD in optometry and vision sciences, and those are my social networks and my personal website. Well, first of all, I want to express my gratitude to Joost because thanks to their diversity fund, I've been able to come here to Porto. Probably you have noticed that I like video games, and in particular, I was playing this video game. Do you know this video game? Of course not, because you are not doing accessible websites. This video game is called the Accessibility Quest, and it's a funny way to learn accessibility. So I brought here the user manual, and I will give you some hints to make some kind of onboarding to this game. You will be able to download the slides and read it at your own pace. Well, first of all, you always have the index, of course. And this begins with the lore, the lore, the context of this game. In an epoch lost to the mist of time, there were computers, but computers were not interconnected among them, so information did not flow at all. Humankind start to make connections between computers, and this way they unleashed the digital flood. Many ages, many centuries after that, web browsers appeared, and most of the humanity, not everybody, most of the humanity learned how to navigate. At that moment, discrimination was born. Many centuries after that, different clans emerged. Webmasters, developers, designers, SEO consultants. At the beginning, they cooperated, but finally, they start to fight against each other to compete and to confront. At that moment, the goddesses of this world took a decision. So they descended upon the world, bringing standardization and peace to everybody. And they gift us with the sacred scriptures of the WCAG, the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, which contains the 4 principles: perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust. But somehow, discrimination stealth the WCAG scriptures and teared off all the pages. Now the world has become an extremely hostile place for diversity. And we need heroines and heroes to reestablish and recuperate the WCAG scriptures. Let me drink, just please. Well, let's talk about the UI and the controls. The Accessibility Quest is a first-person game, and you use the web browser to play. In this web browser, you have a main game area, and above this area, you will find on the left a step back button, a return to home screen, an input field where you can introduce the location in the map where you want to play, and an area here on the top right corner where you will find some magic spells known as extensions or plugins, whatever. And about the controls, the Accessibility Quest supports many different peripherals for your infotainment system. All the peripherals are valid to complete your adventure, and despite the fact that it's designed to be played using the keyboard and a computer mouse, the difficulty of the game may vary depending on the person who is playing and the peripherals. Other options that you can use, just a keyboard without the mouse, or just a mouse or a trackpad without the keyboard, a joystick, or even a single switch button, and an eye tracker, why not, if you pay for it? But the basic controls. You have the escape button. That button will let you to escape from annoying traps, subscription to newsletters, and offers that are not of your interest. With the tab button, you move forward. With the shift tab combination, you move backward. With the space and intro buttons, you can activate the focus link or button, and with the arrow keys, you will move through lists and groups. Now choose your party, because you will not travel alone. Throughout the game, you will meet different characters that you can recruit to your group of accessibilists. Each of these characters have a specific job, and that job determines the statistics of that character. For example, if you recruit a developer, that character will have the highest rate in the development statistics, but not very good design statistics. And this is the kingdom map. In the center, you will find Discrimination's Bastion. You can't go straight ahead there from the beginning, because this is not Breath of the Wild. You have to travel around all the map. There are 4 regions: perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust. And in these regions, you will find dungeons. In total, there are 86 pages to be recovered, classified in 3 different levels of difficulty. Level A represents dungeons that are the easiest to complete in this game. Level AA are dungeons a bit more challenging. And level AAA consists on the most complex dungeons in this game, and you don't need to win in these dungeons to finish the game. The most important thing is that you have to remember that the Accessibility Quest does not force you to follow a specific order. You are free to choose where you want to go and what you want to do. Now we are going to see some hints about a selection of particular dungeons. First of all, we have the Museum in Silence and Darkness. In this museum, everything is in semi-darkness and silence, and it must be kept that way. the security guards are in charge of this? Well, you have to solve a puzzle, and the information to solve that puzzle is hidden among the paintings on the walls. But without light, you can't see the paintings. So how are you gonna solve this puzzle? You can't turn on the light. Probably you should start searching for the museum catalog, where you will find the textual description of each work. Maybe. Let's continue with the Mystic Cliff. In this dungeon, you can get 3 different pages, all related with the contrast of the signs inside this labyrinth. Those signs guide you through the right path to cross the labyrinth, and warns you about different traps and dangers. The problem is that due to the fog, you don't see colors properly, and it's difficult to read. Inside this labyrinth, it's hidden a device known as contrast calculator. Using that device, you can calculate the appropriate contrast for signs to be visible and for text to be legible. Another dungeon is the unstructured shopping center. Here you can buy a lot of equipment and with good offers and discounts. The problem is that the semantics of this building are not correct, so keep in mind that what you see is not what it is. So to win in this dungeon, you have to reestablish the appropriate semantics of each HTML tag. If we continue, we get to the poacher's forest. In this peaceful forest, you can hear birds singing, but with the first step that you make, then you feel dozens of eyes upon you. And this feeling is weird. Well, the thing is that here is really difficult to escape once you activate a trap. The hunters will try to capture the keyboard focus, but they are really clever, because if you are using the computer mouse, you will not trigger any trap. This trap only affects to keyboard users or other peripherals simulating keyboard. You must to win in this dungeon, you must ensure that all travelers can navigate from the top, from the beginning of the page to the bottom of the page, without activating any traps that keeps the keyboard focus. The next dungeon is the Mosquito Vampire Cave. This quiet cave, it seems at the beginning it seems a nice place, because you listen to water sounds, and there is a dim light, so it's nice. But when you step again, then you realize that there are a lot of corpses on the ground, and something has sucked out all their blood. What happened? The vampire mosquitoes attacked those travelers. To knock out those vampires, you have to just tap over them. You don't need strength. But the problem is that they are really tiny, too tiny. So you must find a way to increase their area to 24 per 24 CSS pixels, or 44 per 44. Maybe you will find a CSS property, min height and min width, that can help you. Another dungeon are the new Babel Towers. At the top of those towers, you will find the WCAG pages. There are no enemies, but there are inhabitants there, and you have to help them in order to go subir para arriba. Sorry. Sorry. Well, the problem is that each inhabitant speaks different language. So oops, sorry. So you must you must properly label the different language that you find. It's rumored that there is a lang attribute that you can use for that. The question is that you have to find where to place that attribute. Let's go with the worst dungeon. The Ministry of Forms. Here, there is not a single page, 2, 3, or pages. There is an entire chapter related to forms. You will have to fill a lot of forms. The problem is that input fields are not labeled, there are no instructions, you will find no help, and you will find many useless placeholders. Here, you will have to implement the field labeling techniques and error prevention techniques. And we get to this particular dungeon, the ruins of the archaic code, which are optional. Because in this, now we actually the version that of the game that I am playing is 2.2. In this update, this page has become obsolete. These ruins are the only great temple that survived the HTML era. And we can't understand that because this building suffers of a severe case of diabetes. But engraved on the walls, you will find a lot of code. The problem is that the walls are not perfect, and the code is not complete. In the past, the problem was that different user agents handled differently errors in this code. But nowadays, it doesn't work like that. So this is kept in this version just for historical reasons. So tips for new players. There are no tricks to advance faster in your adventure. There are no plugins. Don't ask for that, please. The WCAG scriptures are just for consultation, not a manual. You are not expected to read it from A to Z. Please validate your HTML code with the WB3C validator. Start with the dungeons you think are easier based on your job. Remember that nobody can go from 0 to 100 without effort and work. Ask for and listen to user feedback. Sometimes the same problem has more than one correct solution. And enjoy your adventure. Now your quest begins. Thank you for playing. The problem is that accessibility is not a game. In the world, 16% of the population lives with some form of disability. And my opinion is that the real number is even higher. What about Portugal? Somebody knows this percentage? 34%. 3.475.939 portugueses, mulheres, homens, meninos e meninas têm algún tipo de deficiencia, according to the European Union. So please remember that accessibility is not a game. Accessibility is a human right. Muito obrigado por todo.
Thanks for the game, for the adventure. It was a really nice
You're
one.
welcome.
So, time for questions. We have some minutes for questions. Please, don't be shy. Go ahead. Okay, I have a question. If by any chance I'd love to use a walkthrough to hand the game faster, I
Yeah.
know that I can't, but if I wanted, what should I use for that walkthrough?
Well, from a point of view, you should go to the theme repository and check the first filter, accessibility ready. Using accessibility ready themes is a really good starting point instead of themes from other stores.
One. So, and about the images, it's always tricky because a lot of people fill the field for image descriptions with sometimes random things that do not describe the image. Can you help us? What should be a very good image description?
This depends. My personal opinion is that not always you need to describe the image, because sometimes you add the image thinking about a particular part of the image, so you have to focus on that area, or you are trying to represent something that is not physical, maybe a concept with that image. So you should focus on your idea, your intention. Why are you putting that image there? But if it's just eye candy, an eye candy image, leave it blank. This way, the screen readers won't announce the image to users.
Okay, that is a very good one. Of course.
Hi, I was wondering if you had any recommendations for testing with screen readers. I've just started doing that and I'm finding it sort of complicated and getting lost. So,
Yeah, using a screen reader is really difficult. So maybe you can try to do a really basic testing, but the best option is to ask for help to real users of screen readers, because their level, it's totally a world apart.
okay, cool. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yep.
Hello, Vicent.
Hi.
Thank you very much for your talk. It has been wonderful. A complicated one. I don't know if there's an answer for that. When you're automatically testing code, you have usually ways of saying, don't test this because I'm doing this on purpose. Is there anything similar for accessibility test? I mean, if you are leaving out an image without an alt text, for example, is there any way, any area, any something to say that I'm doing this on purpose, this image doesn't has an alt on purpose?
Yeah. Well, the standard, the HTML standard, just expects that all images have an alt attribute. If that image is not relevant, it's just decoration, you have to leave that alt attribute blank. That's all. Then this way, the automatic testers won't point that image, and that's the default behavior of WordPress with images.
If you do that, most validation tools will say this image doesn't have an alt text.
No. Because these tools just check that the image has an alt attribute. They are not evaluating the content of the attribute, because that's what is expected. But you could use an area value, it's presentational, role presentational, or something like that. Yeah.
Thank you. Vincent Sanchez, everyone.